Hello, my name is Victor Torres, and I'm a consultant with the Indiana IEP Resource Center.
And my name is Sarah Larison, also a consultant with the Indiana IEP Resource Center. Welcome to this 6-part series on co-teaching. The purpose of this video is to provide insight on how to effectively co-teach in a virtual setting.
With many districts and schools implementing a combination of in-person and remote learning models, co-teaching teams are also looking to adapt their practices to continue meeting the needs of all learners. Utilizing co-teaching models in a virtual setting can feel daunting, so we are going to take some time to look at some practical ways to use each of the models in a virtual setting. One teach, one assist, and one teach, one observe are very similar to one another, so the virtual considerations look very similar as well. When in a virtual setting, for both models, one teacher is leading the instruction of the group. The second teacher may be monitoring the virtual room, sending private messages, or sharing helpful resources with a small group of students to assist them in understanding the content being shared. The second teacher may also just take the role of observer to watch how students interact with one another and with the content in a virtual setting. This could give the second teacher the opportunity to collect and gather anecdotal notes and brainstorm new, effective ways to engage students.
Parallel teaching is one model that co-teachers can implement while teaching remotely. One example would be for teachers to split the class in half using video conferencing breakout rooms or individual accounts. Teachers can then choose to reconvene as a whole group or take their partner's group to continue the lesson. Outlining roles and responsibilities is vital for the success of all models, regardless of where instruction is taking place. For team teaching in a virtual setting, this is even more important. Team teaching takes place in a virtual setting the same way it does with in-person instruction. Co-teachers must outline what roles each teacher will play in providing instruction. Station teaching can feel really daunting to modify virtually, but with a little bit of planning and practice, station teaching can be successful in a virtual setting. Virtual station teaching can be incorporated synchronously or asynchronously. One option is to create a menu of independent work for students to do and then have scheduled times for groups to sign into your virtual platform to do teacher-led stations. Another option would be to begin the class as a whole and then use virtual breakout rooms for individual video conferencing accounts to lead the students through multiple activities. One teach, one make multisensory is another model that can easily be adjusted and used in a virtual setting. When using this model, one teacher would be instructing verbally, while the second teacher might be modeling appropriate note-taking, filling out a graphic organizer on the screen, or providing drawings and illustrations about the content being presented. This gives students multiple access points to the content being taught verbally. Alternative teaching is a great model to utilize breakout groups or small group virtual meetings. After students have gotten through core instruction and a check for understanding has been administered, one teacher could continue working with the whole group while the second teacher could create a breakout room to provide enrichment or remediation based on those checks for understanding.
Virtual learning may require teachers to take extra steps in crafting lessons and units. Therefore, roles and responsibilities should be carefully discussed and equally delegated amongst the team. For example, if one teacher is uploading assignments and updating the learning management system, the other teacher could take on the role of communicating with parents and individual students who may require further support. Teachers should also look to designate periodic check-ins where they can discuss the progression of student growth and instructional practices. By definition, specially designed instruction is adapting content, methods, and/or instructional delivery to address the unique needs of a student. Even as schools and districts look to adapt their instructional models to meet the needs of their students in a virtual or hybrid setting, SDI will continue to be an essential practice in an inclusive classroom. Typically, these supports have been provided by a variety of educators in an in-person setting. With the transition to remote learning, co-teachers should look to teach students and parents how to use and implement these supports and gradually look to promote independence within the student. Educators should continue to explicitly model instruction and the use of accommodations and supports for students. This can be done via a live video session or video recording. Direct instruction can also occur via the use of virtual breakout rooms. Supports such as graphic organizers, rubrics, and visual prompts can be uploaded into the students' learning management systems so students can access them. Teachers may even include an example of these visual prompts for students that is already filled out to help support their further understanding of the content. Another consideration would be to provide an audio recording of a book segment or assignment directions for students to reference. Teachers can also use screen recording apps to record models for students and include a voiceover explaining the steps and process to use as a reference or guide. Ultimately, specially designed instruction must continue to be provided to students in a virtual setting, but the methods of delivery may require you to get creative. An accommodation is a support or service that is provided to a student to allow a student the opportunity to fully access the general education curriculum. Some accommodations may translate more easily to the virtual setting, such as resubmitting assignments, extended time, and text-to-speech. Co-teaching teams should look to periodically check in with families to ensure that the supports and services in place are working and provide additional online resources for individuals or groups of students who are in need.
Providing in-person real-time feedback is a vital component of effective instruction. To replace in-person feedback, co-teachers should look to provide real-time feedback as much as possible during synchronous learning sessions. Teachers can make comments on virtual documents or provide scores using a rubric. A teacher can also share their screen in a live session and use a sample text or problem that mirrors common mistakes. The transition to distance learning has been difficult for educators and students. Co-teaching teams should look to lean on each other more than ever and model for students how to practice healthy self-care and awareness. Continually incorporating these strategies into their practices will ensure that a whole child approach is being used, which is ultimately in the best interest of the student.
Co-teaching can be challenging. These challenges are intensified when teachers are not able to share the same space. It's our hope that the strategies within this video will help you effectively co-teach and continue to meet the needs of all learners within the virtual setting. If you have questions about this information or any other topic, connect with us on the Indiana IEP Resource Center's website, indianaiprc.org.